This is a recipe for what am I gonna do with the chicken and vegetables that are in my fridge. It happens to me all the time. And it's a one-pan recipe, and I'm gonna show you a really great way to arrange the vegetables and the chicken so that it will go into the oven at the same time and then come out of the oven at the same time. So we're gonna start with our vegetables first. And we're gonna use some hearty vegetables today. You'll see I have some potatoes, I've got some shallots, carrots, and some Brussels sprouts. So I need to prepare the vegetables first because I want everything to be the same size. Because again, we want everything to be cooked at the same time. So I've got some red potatoes that I'm gonna cut into 1-inch pieces. And you could also use Yukon Gold if you had those. Actually, any kind of potato would probably be fine here. But red potatoes are great because you don't have to peel them. And again, weeknight, it's all about the ease, right? All right, so I'm gonna transfer these to a nice large bowl because everything is gonna be tossed in the same bowl. Okay, then on to some shallots. Pretty simple prep here. You just wanna peel them and then cut them in half. And shallots are great, especially because they get really nice and tender when cooked. They're more mild than a red onion, and they have a little bit more sweetness in them too. All right, now I have some carrots that I'm gonna cut into 2-inch pieces. I already went ahead and peeled them. And then if you get a carrot that has a pretty thick end to it, you wanna just cut that in half. So you'll notice I'm not using delicate vegetables here, and I'm also not gonna be using delicate herbs. Everything is pretty hearty. And that's because I need ingredients that are gonna stand up to the cooking time and the oven temperature as well. And now I've got some Brussels sprouts. You wanna use Brussels sprouts that are about the size of a golf ball. You don't wanna use the big ones because sometimes they can be a little drier even after cooking, and they're just a little bit woody in texture. So I'm just gonna cut off the ends and cut them in half. And not only am I cutting things so that they'll be even in size for cooking, but I'm also cutting them so that each of the vegetables have a flat side, and that's gonna help to get really nice browning and some caramelization when it's in the oven. Okay, add you guys in there. Now I'm gonna need 6 cloves of garlic. So I'm just going to peel these. And whenever I peel garlic, I always just give it a light little smash, and it just helps to separate the skin from the garlic clove. Okay, and we have some rosemary and some thyme, both hearty herbs. And these are herbs that will definitely last a good amount of time. So thyme, that was good. So the thyme and the rosemary are gonna go in at 2 different stages. So I'm gonna do all of the knife work right now. And you wanna just mince the rosemary and mince the thyme. My husband used to work in a restaurant, and before service, the chef would put a stem of rosemary over the flame, and it just gives any kind of room that you're in this really amazing rosemary aroma. That's free of charge, that little tip. All right, so I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of thyme and 1 teaspoon of the lovely rosemary in the bowl with the vegetables. And then we're also gonna be making a really excellent herb butter. So I have some melted butter over here, and I'm going to add a little bit more thyme and rosemary to that. So let's continue to add some flavor. I'm going to add a little bit of sugar, which is a surprising ingredient. So I just need a teaspoon. The sugar is going to, as you probably guessed, help to caramelize all the vegetables and help promote some of that browning. And then I'm going to need a little olive oil, some salt, and some pepper. Give it a good toss, and you're gonna use a pretty high oven. It's gonna be 475 degrees, and you wanna adjust the oven rack to the upper middle position. Okay, and before we do anything else, I'm gonna finish the herb butter, a 1/4 teaspoon salt, and just 1/8 of a teaspoon of the pepper. Okay. I'm gonna get cleaned up, and when we come back, we're gonna arrange our vegetables and our chicken and get cooking. So this was a 4.5-pound chicken, and it yielded 3.5 pounds of chicken parts. So I've got my hearty vegetables here that I'm gonna arrange on this rim baking sheet. you want to take the Brussels sprouts because they are a little bit more delicate than the potatoes and the carrots. And you want to arrange the Brussels sprouts in the center of the sheet pan, because what's going to happen is the outside of the sheet pan, all the things on the outside are going to cook a lot quicker. So the delicate things we are going to put in the center of the sheet pan. And if you can, put the flat side down. That way you'll get really nice browning. Now, move on to the chicken. I've got some salt and pepper that I already combined, which is something I like to do, especially when handling raw meat, just so I'm not going in and out of a salt bowl, pepper bowl, that kind of thing. Okay, so like the Brussels sprouts and the vegetables, I'm gonna do the same thing with the chicken. Now, chicken breasts are much more delicate than the thighs and the drumsticks. So I'm gonna put those in the middle on top of the Brussels sprouts. And we don't want the chicken breast to overcook because that's not good. So by keeping them in the center there, it helps to prevent that from happening. And then the dark meat, the drumsticks, and the thighs are gonna go on the exterior. So I just have to wash my hands real quick, and then we're gonna top it with a little herb butter and then put this chicken into the oven. Now I'm just gonna brush our herb butter on top of the chicken. And what's gonna happen is the butter is going to melt. It's gonna help get a little bit more browning on the chicken while it's in the oven. And it's also gonna help to bloom those herbs, the rosemary and the thyme. And the vegetables are about to get cooked in the best way possible underneath some chicken. And the chicken skin is gonna render and you're gonna get that schmaltzy deliciousness. So I have an oven preheated to 475 degrees. So I'm gonna bake this for 35 minutes until the breasts register 160 degrees, drumsticks and thighs register 175 degrees, and I'm gonna rotate that pan halfway through cooking. Okie dokie. Let's check the temperature, shall we? 160 for chicken breasts. Okay. 161, yes, thank you. I'm gonna transfer the chicken first to a carving board. And I'm gonna let the chicken rest, tent it with some aluminum foil. And now I'm going to toss all the vegetables with that butter and all the juices. Yum, yum, yum. You can see how tender these vegetables are. They don't look overcooked and they are nice and roasty toasty. Oh my goodness. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, let's see some of that butter. Oh yes. Just gonna let the chicken rest for a few more minutes and then it's gonna be time to taste. This is just elegance on a platter. Look at this. I need to taste this. I'm gonna go with the carrot first. Oh my goodness, that is so perfectly tender. Oh, these carrots are so sweet. It's not mushy. You know how carrots can get kind of mushy when they're steamy and overcooked? Perfectly cooked. Chicken, so good. I mean, this is seriously so good. The chicken is super moist and tender. And that skin is so crispy thanks to the butter that we put on there. Oh my goodness. And there's so much flavor from that butter and the herbs and the salt and the pepper. And it's just, I mean, this is just a home run. I'm not a baseball player, but if I was, I'd call this one the umpire home run. You know what I mean? And just like that, we have perfectly roasted chicken and vegetables all done at the same time with amazing results.